How to sew a single-page Coptic binding with beads. This tutorial starts with your pages and covers already prepared, but if you want to know how to prepare them, check out the video linked above or in the description. You'll need thread in one or more colors, needles, one per each hole, and beads. Today I'm using 3mm beads, scissors, one thread per each hole, beeswax, which is optional, but even with factory wax thread, I like to go ahead and wax each thread a couple more times. Go ahead and thread each needle. We start the beaded binding the same way as we did with the plain single page binding. Take the first needle, go through the first hole, and tie off that thread. And today I'm just using a square knot. You can use whatever knot you want, but you're tying the thread that goes through the hole back to itself. And then you're going to snug the knot up next to the hole. Repeat this same step for each remaining thread. The biggest thing to remember about the step is once you've tied the knot is to snug it up next to each hole. Repeat the step for each remaining thread, and then the first page is done. Take that first page and the cover, put them together, take the first thread and your needle, wrap around to the front of the cover, go through the hole, staying to the left, and pull the thread all the way through. The thread will be wrapping around the cover from the outside to the inside. Then repeat the same step with each remaining thread. Just remember that you're wrapping around to the front of the cover, pushing the needle through the hole, staying to the left, and then pulling it all the way out. If the thread gets twisted, just take a moment, slow down, and fix the thread, and then keep on going. Do this for every thread, and then you can snug them up. And that's what it should look like. Next, take that first thread, the first needle, and loop the threads on the sheet from the left to the right. Go under both threads and pull the needle out. It will make a sort of little twisty knot. You can tighten it up, and then repeat the step for the remaining threads. So you're taking your needle, going from the left to the right, and going right underneath the threads on the sheet and pulling your needle out. When you're done, you can snug them up, and that's what it should look like. Take the second sheet, take that first thread, that first needle, go to the top of the second sheet and go down through that first hole. Pull the thread through while staying to the left. So repeat this step, take the second thread, go up to the top of the sheet, go through that second hole, stay to the left, and pull the thread all the way through. Repeat the step for each remaining thread, and then you can snug them up. While you're tightening the threads, don't pull too hard or you'll rip your sheet. Now it's time for the beads. There's nothing fast about this process. You're going to have to remove the needle unless your bead is big enough for the needle to go through the hole. So I took my needle off, and now taking that first bead, placing it on the thread, and pulling it all the way up against the threads that are on the page. Put the needle back on and loop the thread on the page from the right to the left. You're going counterclockwise, just like you did on the plain single page binding. Adjust the bead if you need to, and that's it. So you're moving on to the next thread, taking the needle off, putting the bead on. Push the bead up against the threads that are on the page. Place your needle back on your thread. Loop counterclockwise from the right to the left around the thread that's on the page. And pull the needle all the way through. Adjust the bead if you need to, and then repeat this step for each remaining thread. And that's what it should look like. Open up your book between the cover and the first page. You'll take that first needle, that first thread, and you're going to link from the left to the right around the thread that connects the first page in the cover, and pull the thread all the way through. Repeat this step for each remaining thread. So you're going to keep the book open between the cover and the first page. Take that second thread, go down to the left, and link that thread that connects the cover and the first page. Pull the thread all the way through. Repeat this step for each remaining thread, and that's what it should look like. Before adding the next sheet, adjust the beads so that they are on the very edge of the page. Then take the third sheet, lay it over the top, and just like before, we're taking that first thread, that first needle, we're going to the top of the sheet into the first hole, going through the hole and staying to the left, pull the thread all the way through. The thread going to the top of that page should stay to the right of the bead. The thread coming out on the bottom of the page should stay to the left. Then repeat this step for each remaining thread. So you're taking the second thread, going to the top of the sheet, going down into the sheet through that hole, staying to the left and pulling the thread all the way through. You'll have to adjust the thread so that it avoids the bead. Continue on with each remaining thread. When you're done with this step, you can snug them up, and that's what it should look like. This process is just like adding the second page. You're taking your needle off that first thread, adding your bead, taking the bead, sliding it down the thread, snugging it up against the pages, and then you're going to loop from the right to the left, counterclockwise around the thread that is on the sheet. Repeat the step for the next thread, taking the second needle off the second thread, putting a bead on, sliding the bead up against the page, taking that second needle, looping the thread on the page from the right to the left, and pulling the thread all the way through. Repeat this step for each remaining thread, then you can snug them up. And that's what it should look like. This time, instead of linking between the cover and the first sheet, we're going to be linking down between the second and the first sheet. You're taking that first thread, the first needle, and you're going to open the book between the first and second page, stay to the left, link the thread that connects the first and second page, and pull the thread all the way through. Repeat this step for each remaining thread, taking the second thread, second needle, opening the book between the first and second page, go down, stay to the left, and link that thread that connects the first and second page. Sometimes it's easier to open up the book, pull the needle to the inside, loop the thread, and place it between the pages, and then pull it through. Repeat the step for each remaining thread. When you're done with the step, you can tighten them up, and that's what it should look like. Don't forget to take a moment to adjust the beads so that they are on the edge of the pages. As the beads stack up, you may need to kind of squish them to the sides of each other. For the next page, repeat the same process just as before. So you're still taking that first thread, the first needle, going through the first hole, looping it from the top to the bottom, staying to the left, and pulling it all the way through. Every page from here on out to the final sheet is exactly like what you've been doing. So second thread, do the same thing, up to the top, go through the hole, pull it through while staying to the left. Sometimes it's easier to open up the book completely, and that is a-okay. You'll still repeat each step for every thread. So adding the beads the same way, you'll still remove the needle, you'll still stick on the bead, slide it up to the edge of the page. You'll take the needle, put it back on your thread, and loop the thread on the page from the right to the left. And you repeat the same step for each remaining thread, and then you can tighten them up. One thing to remember about the beads is that you do not want the thread to be on the front of the bead. You'll want it to loop behind the back. By now, you're probably starting to get in a rhythm. Just remember that each page from here on out until the final sheet is exactly the same. Repeat the same step for each remaining thread, and when you're done, you can tighten them up. And that's what it should look like. Next, we're going to open up the book between the second and the third page. We'll be linking here. Remember, you're always linking one page below the page you're working on. Go from the left to the right, take that first thread, wrap it around the thread that connects the second and third page, and pull the thread all the way through. Repeat the step for each remaining thread, so you're taking the next thread, going down between the second and third page, and wrapping the thread from the left to the right. Adjust everything up, and that's what it should look like. Repeat these steps until you get to the very final page. As you sew, you'll notice the beads want to squish to the left and the right. Pages kind of get out of line. Just adjust them back and make sure the beads stay on the outside of the pages and not on the inside. That will allow the book to continue to open. The book does not open as freely as it does without the beads. If you find out a better way in doing this, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you tried. When it's time for the last page, you're going to place it on the top. Just like before, you're going to take that first thread, that first needle, go up to the top of the page, down through the hole, staying to the left and pulling it all the way through. Repeat the same step for each remaining thread. And that's what it should look like. Go ahead and snug up your threads. And this time around, when we looped the thread on the page, we are not adding the beads. This will allow the book to open more freely. Take your first thread, your first needle, and wrap the thread on the page from the right to the left, creating that same little loop, just like you did on each previous page. The only difference this time around is there's no beads. And that's what it should look like. Then grab your cover. We'll take that very first thread. We're going to go up to the top of the cover, down through the hole, staying to the left, pull the needle through between the cover and the first page. Repeat for the second thread. So go up to the top of the cover, down through the hole, stay to the left of your threads, and pull the thread all the way through. Repeat the same step for each remaining thread, and then you can tighten them up. It looks just like adding on an additional page. And that's what it should look like. Next, we're wrapping the threads on the cover. You're going to take that first thread, that first needle, and wrap the thread from the right to the left. Pull the thread all the way through. Repeat the step for each remaining thread. So take the next thread, wrap that thread on the cover from the right to the left, and pull the thread all the way through. It looks just like adding on an additional page. Next, open your book, the cover, plus the last two pages. Take that first thread, staying to the left, loop around from the left to the right, and pull the thread all the way through. So it's the cover plus the last two pages. Drop down and loop the thread from the left to the right. Repeat the same step for each remaining thread. Remember, it's the cover plus the last two pages, and you're just linking from the left to the right and pulling the thread all the way through. Once you've repeated the step for each remaining thread, you can tighten them up. And that's what it should look like. Next, we're opening up just the cover. Take that very first thread, and you're going to loop from the right to the left and link the thread that connects the cover. Pull the thread all the way through. Repeat the same step for each remaining thread. So you're going up from where you last linked on the pages. You're going from the right to the left between the cover and the last page and pulling the thread all the way through. Repeat the same step for each remaining thread. And this is what it should look like on the inside of the cover. Before you move on, tighten up your threads and adjust the beads if you need to. Next, open up your book, the cover plus the final page. Take that first thread, drop down to the left, and link from the left to the right. Pull the thread all the way through. Move on to the next thread, so the cover plus the final page. Open up the book all the way if you have to see, drop down to the left, and loop from the left to the right and pull the thread all the way through. Repeat the step for each remaining thread, and that's what it should look like. We are almost done, so open up the cover of your book, take that first thread, stay to the right, go between the cover and the last page, pull the thread all the way through, then through that first hole on the last page, pull your thread all the way through. You're going to repeat this step for each remaining thread. Go into the next thread, open up the cover of your book, stay to the right, place your needle between the cover and the last page, pull the thread all the way through. Then go into that second hole on the last page and pull the thread all the way through. You'll repeat the same step for each remaining thread. And then it's time to tie off your book. Any knot that you like that holds will work. And I just tie each thread back to itself. You can choose to leave a tail or you can cut your threads. If you cut your threads, make sure to leave about 1 inch or so extra thread. That way the knots don't come undone. Congratulations, your book is done. But if you want to make another book, check out this video.